Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sweet House Podcast. Today I have on the world's clinician, the world's therapist, the social media world's therapist, Dr. Martin. And I have to rag on Dr. Martin because she has many roles. Influencer, I'm giving her the title today.
I do not feel like an influencer because I'm like,
but she has lots of followers who really believe in your messaging, and I give everyone their flowers when they come here. So I truly do think that you are an influencer. I actually met her about a year ago at an event, and she said something to me. I can't even remember exactly what it was that you said to me. We were talking about, I think, we were talking about motherhood, but we were talking about the grandmothers not being grandmotherly. And you said something to me, and I was like,
oh, it was about, okay, because I think you were saying something about wanting Rain to have her own path. And I think you said, and I was like, are you aware that like, the environment that you're fostering for Rain, like her letting her have her own expectations, you're not doing that with your with the grandmotherly, like, because they have to do it in their own way. Because I think we were talking about, I want Rain to be able to do stuff in her own way.
Yes,
but she wanted grandmothers to do stuff in one way, and I'm like, well,
but what she said, but what she said to me, I was like, I feel read and seen at the same time. So I just knew then that I needed to eventually have her on the podcast because she is such an inspirational person.
Thank you.
So influencer, you are. I know that's not a title that you deem yourself
when
as.
I think influencer, I always think like people who, have it together. Look at your timeline. Like, wait. Versus me, it's like, do I have rice on my shirt?
Girl, I have a whole stain on my shirt.
That's like half of my thing. Like, somebody messaged me one time. I was recording a video, and they were like, "Hey, you okay, bro?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" Like, your shirt is on backwards and inside out in that post, and I was like, "Oh."
But I also feel like, I feel like that's why we're also very attracted to your message, though. Yeah. Because it's very real.
Yeah, like, and focus on the message. Don't look at my shirt. Like,
and that's what we need. Like, you know what? Not everybody's in the business of selling an Amazon something or a Target something.
I'm not selling anything.
You're not selling anything. Yeah. You think you're not selling anything, but you are influencing a lot of people. And so she's an influencer. She's a podcaster. Mm-hmm. She is a therapist. Yes. She's a mom, and she's also a wife, which two roles I think that we don't necessarily put in our job titles or our LinkedIn titles, but they very much so work heavily in tandem with all the things that we do. We're both mothers, and we know that. That's why we were at that event. We were like,
it was Morgan's event for mom stuff. Like, even every person always asks, like, how do you manage all the roles? And I'm like, I'm married. Like, like when I travel a lot, they're like, how are your kids? I'm like, I don't know, ask their dad. Yeah, they're with my husband. Like,
yeah, because this works as a team.
Yeah, it works as a team. He doesn't travel as much as me. He's an accountant.
Yeah.
If he traveled as much as me, there's no way it would work. But anytime like I take on a gig or anytime I'm considering something, I send the text and stuff like that. Like there's no way. Because we're a team. Like I always call him my partner. He does not like that. But I couldn't do anything if it wasn't for the fact that he's like, oh yeah, I got you. Like I would love to come with you, but somebody got to watch these kids. So I wouldn't be able to do all the roles without my husband. Like
I'm sure you influence him too.
I don't know about that. Like my husband's more so like me. I'm more so the why not person. Like, let's just like burn it, like anything. And he's just like, or we could not. We could just chill out. He's a very Southern. I always say he's like an old man, but like he's not old, but his spirit, he's exactly like his dad. Like I married a Southern Black man who's very much like, I don't think this is necessary. Let's just versus me, I'm like, everything's necessary. He's just like, have you eaten? What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, so how do you therapize your family, or do you therapize the family? Do you leave work at work?
Yeah. Well, the only thing that's really hard to leave at work is the fact that like most of my training in the beginning was with child trauma. And it was very tough because I would literally be dropping my youngest off at childcare and then walking some families through some of the worst things that ever happened to them during childcare. So that was like very, very hard. I'll never forget the head of my department in Hopkins. One day I found out she was a psychologist, and I never knew she was a psychologist. I thought she always just trained in like healthcare administration. And I asked her why she stopped practicing, because our whole entire floor was about child and family and traumatic stress at Hopkins. And she said, I had a daughter and I could no longer do this. Like I could not focus on my work. without being like more so distracted. So she couldn't practice anymore because it was just really hard to separate that. And a lot of individuals who are in the child trauma realm, like it's very hard. So that's the only thing. But other than that, no, I don't work for free. And plus, like I think at times my husband has told me, he was like, oh, you have like a therapeutic tone, which I don't think I have. But if I like go into that realm, he'll be like, no, I'm not your patient. So like,
But therapists as a role is also kind of who you are, even just being around you.
It's an occupational hazard.
Yes.
Because even that moment, I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I think I even apologized. Like, I apologize. It's
no, but I was
hazard.
like, I received this. But I want to go back to your beginning and what inspired you to get into this field. Like, what drove the decision?
I actually wanted to go to school to be a nurse originally. I don't think, if I didn't go to Fisk University, I would not have been a psychologist. Like, I was very lucky that my first real psych class was at an HBCU because we learned all about like Black mental health professionals and how to integrate psychology into sustainable change, like with policy and research. Versus when I started undergrad, I thought psychology was just therapy. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm just sitting here all day. But I was very lucky to be taught by Dr. Sheila Peters, and she was very big on talking about some of the big names like Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu and Dr. Cross and Dr. Mamie Phipps-Clark and Kenneth Clark, who their research is one of the justification was used for Brown versus Board of Education. So I've learned that like, oh, you could use psychology and research to make sustainable change in the environment. Like, because I always knew I was going to go to school for something that works within the Black community. I'm from Philly. It's very Black. And I was always reared with, you do something for yourself, but you also do stuff for your community.
Like, and for your people.
And for your people, like always. Like, it was never a question. Yeah. So psychology and history were the only classes that did not bore me. Like all the other... When I first started, I thought I was going to do nursing. Those they were just so boring. I was just like, I'm paying too much money to be this bored. Like, it just was not the Krebs cycle. And I was just like, this is just boring. And Fisk is expensive, man.
I was just about to ask you, for one, why you chose Fisk coming from Philly. Like, what made you?
It was very random. I was actually going to go to, it was either Penn or Temple. I think it was Temple because my mom went to Temple University in Philly. And Fisk had just randomly sent me a flyer. And none of the schools I was looking at was an HBCU, so I figured I'd apply. Didn't even set eyes on it until we got like dropped off. And my dad was very much like, so we drove across the country for her to be North. Like, I'm from North Philly, I'm from Nicetown, but like, it's not one of the best neighborhoods. So my dad was like, I'm not leaving her here. We drove across the country. You know,
what year was this? Because also
2006. I graduated in 2010.
So I want y'all to know, like, because people don't know Nashville from 2006. So when we're describing, it's very different. The area is much different now than it was in 2006.
It was.
For context.
During orientation, I distinctly remember being told, do not go unless you have like someone with you, like a local or something. Do not go to the area where all the streets are like state names, like the nations. And when we moved, that was like the rule during orientation. They were like, all right, so, you know, we know everybody's from different areas, but like there's certain places you just should not be
real
walking.
With you.
Yes. And that was one of the places. So when we moved back here after I had my oldest, and all of these things were like, oh, this new restaurant in the Nations. And I was like, in the what?
Right. Because that's not what I remember.
Go to the Nations. I was like, during orientation, they were like, all right, now. You stay on campus. Like everywhere is not Fisk or TSU or Meharry. Like, you stay on campus. We had no business being at Meharry in undergrad. None of y'all have any business being at Meharry during undergrad.
Unless they're looking for a doctor.
But like, what am I looking for a doctor? I started college at 17. Really? Oh, yes.
Well, you might need some health care.
I thought you meant a doctor meaning like as an MRS. But yeah.
Look, get your degree and get your MRS degree too.
But yeah, no, if I didn't go to Fisk, I don't think I would have been a psychologist. I've always known I was going to be an agent of change in the Black community because it just made the most sense.
Do you think we come here with those, with that direction, that heart direction? I asked everybody that question, like, because some of us just either have it or we don't for certain things that we do in our lives. So my question to you is, do you think we come here with the heart direction to do what we came here to do? Or is it something that we have to figure out? Yeah.
Like, mine is very parenting oriented. Like, my mom, like, it was just understood that like you contribute to your community, you become an agent of change. Like, we're very like, collective. It's like, you don't just do your job for you. Like, excuse me? Like, it's like an absurd thought. But I don't think everyone has that, because my husband is very much a person who's like, you do your job.
And you go home.
But
he's an accountant, though. I think they have a different brain.
But he chose that field.
I know, but they have a different brain. My line sister is actually my accountant. I tell her all the time, there's no way. I don't want to look at any of this.
It's not exciting.
No, at all.
Oh, my God. Excel sheets. I'm like,
I can't. Like, Excel sheets, expenses. I just cannot.
I have no interest.
I have no interest at all.
No.
How can I spend the money is all I'm interested in.
But he very much went into that field because of that. He just wanted something straight to the point where, like, so for me, my job had to be something I significantly valued, something that drew my interest, versus my husband. I think he sees it more as like, my job is a means to have my goal is supporting my family. Like my goal is more so creating systemic change. And I do that through my work and my family too. Yeah. Versus my husband's goal is us. Like, my job. Yeah. My goal is to provide for my family. That's what I'm saying. It's a very Southern black man.
Do come to the South. If you look, I'm going to speak to the audience on this way. Do come to the South to get an MRS degree.
Yeah. Cause that's his value. Like, we talked about goals one time and he's like, my goal is my family. Like, so this job helps me support my family.
The same thing.
Yeah. Versus me, I'm like, books, careers, like y'all in there too. But like, you know, like he's very much like, this job provides me a way to support my family. And that's why it's so easy when it comes to traveling and stuff. Cause like, he's also like, oh, is this what you want to do?
Yeah, let's go.
We're good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So it's very like,
I love that for
very
you.
Different. Yeah,
you deserve that.
And we work any other way. And we've been like this since dating. Like, we've been together since I met her when I was 20. I'm 36. We've been together for 16 years.
I've been with my husband for 15 years, and he is the exact same way. It's very much so. But we've always been like that. Like, we lived in different cities. Like, we met in college, but after college, I moved to D.C. I moved to Louisville. He was in Clarksville. I was in Memphis. We've just always, but we knew that we were doing what we had to do to get to where we were trying to go.
Exactly. So, long distance was one of the worst times in our relationship. Because when I, not because of anything bad, but it was just like,
you miss him.
And we were broke because we were both in school. So I was like, I mean, I can't afford to see.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating. But yeah, we've always been more of an independent couple. Like, it's just being like, me traveling. A lot of times people will be like, is your husband okay with this? And I'm like,
you know,
excuse me, are you okay?
That part, because I was interviewing for a job once and for a company here in town, a very prominent company. And the hiring manager said, is your husband okay with you making this kind of money? Excuse
It's such an odd question. It's like, oh my goodness, did we time travel to the 1800s? Was I not aware?
Right.
When did I get on this list?
What's happening here?
It's such an absurd
thing. I'm not even interested in completing this interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for wasting my time. Is there a good coffee shop nearby?
Right.
So this isn't a complete waste of time.
Have a great day, sir. We are not on horses and buggies.
No, even the assumption to be like, I mean, so if you can have a career, I talk about this all the time. You can have a career, you can have a partner, but it's a certain kind of person. Like, I've never seen a man complain, a strong and strong man complain about a strong woman.
Yeah.
I've seen men who have a lot of issues complain about strong women, but I have never seen a strong man complain about a strong woman in my life.
Okay, and you heard it right here first.
It's never happened.
Dr. Martin.
Yeah, like, you're like, oh, well, they're complaining. It's just like, well, something wrong with their values, because I've never had that issue. And as you can tell, I'm a very big personality. I'm with someone who has never tried to shrink it. Yeah. It's always just like, I mean, you go ahead. I'm gonna stand over here with a snack. Let me know, you know, what you need.
But I also have to ask you that question as a therapist, when you are in your sessions and you're hearing something from a client. Like, what do you say when it's just so bizarre? And you are a big personality, so how do you ever say what you're really thinking?
Well, okay, so like, it's like, so what am I thinking, right? Because there's also like, one of the amazing benefits of therapy is you have someone who's connected, but they're not like interjecting themselves into your life. And the lack of judgment, like, I think this is also like a very East Coast thing. I grew up with like, mind your business, you know, like, which is crazy because I'm in everybody's business. But I grew up with like you had to catch the bus and catch the train. You know where you're going. Don't worry about anyone to the left or the right. You mind your business. I'm kind of the same way with therapy. Yeah. Where it's just like, I'm trying to get you to your goals, but your values may be different than mine. Like, a lot of people's values are different than mine. So when it comes to something you really have to take the time to be like, is this something that's actually harmful to them or unhealthy? Because normal and unhealthy are two entirely different things. Or is this something that it's like, oh, well, maybe this is, I'm trying to focus on this with them because it's against my value system. And this is why everybody can't be a mental health professional, because it's different between something you have a concern about being unhealthy for your client, something that's against their goals, and something that's just pulling at you because it's against your value system. Yeah. And your values have no place here. This is not your session, right? So that's why you need more time to ruminate on your clients and check in with their goals. But I ask my clients all this, it's like, if it doesn't align with the goals, it's just like, okay. So, you know, and most clinicians do this, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the time we're not wrong, but it's just like, I thought, you know, we were working on this as a goal. Do you feel like this aligns with your goal, or do you feel like it kind of detracts from your goal? Like, say, one of my clients at one point, their goal was to get more comfortable dating. And we're talking about communications and what they're looking for, and their value system and what they're looking for in another person. They didn't want to do any kind of dating things in person. They didn't want to do any kind of events out and about or any apps. And I genuinely said, well, I hope the person who breaks into your home has redeeming qualities, because the only way you are going to meet someone is if they break into your home. And then you still are going to have to want to be with a criminal. And she was like, what? I'm just like, because like you change your behavior, or you change the goal. So I'm just like, so which one would you like to change? Would you like to change your goal in terms of dating, or do you want to change your behavior so that you align more with the goal? But that's all you can do. But personality style, I said, my personality comes in all the time. Like, no, like what? Which one are we going to change? Because I just want to document that, like, that's no longer what we're focusing on. Maybe we thought we were at a farther stage of change when it came to dating. Maybe you thought you were more comfortable, but you're still not at that place. So let's just like take a step back. But you're not going to do the events, and you're not going to do the apps. Well, how does that align with your goal? You know, like, and I would say our goal.
Yourself?
How can you help yourself? So like, what are we doing here? Because there are other things we could work on.
Well, and dating is such a tricky one, but you were on the Tamron Hall show to talk about dating.
Intentional dating.
Yes. So tell us about your experience.
My experience is old school, though, because been with my husband personal experience, been with my husband since I was 20, I'm 36. But my experience is more so working with clients through that. And I will also say, every date doesn't have to end in some life-altering experience. I feel like some people would be like, "Oh, dating for a relationship. Why? Like, do you need to? I used to just date because I'm like, you know what? I do not feel like paying for my dinner tonight. But I also don't feel like cooking.
I think that's modern day dating. I think it is very much, but it makes it hard for people too, because it's like,
if they want to date for a relationship, but what if you don't? What if you just want to hang out and get to know people for fun?
Well, or you're just sex positive. As this new term is sex positive. I keep seeing this on all the dating shows. When
sex positive?
Yeah. See the girls are all like, I'm sex positive. And
what
I'm
does that
like,
mean?
I don't know what it means.
Most of the time saying positive while you talking about sex is not a good thing.
I haven't dated since 2009. So
what is that? Okay, so I'm assuming it means more comfort level with sexuality.
I think it's not shame with partners, or shame with like what you're doing sexually.
Oh, well, yeah. So that makes more sense. And I feel like as long as you're being safe, do what you do, safe and having communication with honesty, right? Because there used to be old school terms like a promiscuity and stuff like that. But one of the biggest concerns was also like safety. A lot of times people get shamed. But I feel as though if you're communicating with your partners and just being like, just a heads up, like I am using protection. We're only having sex with protection. You are not the only person that I'm intimate with. You know, like it's about honesty, but it's also about safety, because no one takes like dating, like sexuality, like they don't take it serious enough in terms of safety. You are putting someone's life at risk.
Oh, 100%.
Like that's why I was just like,
but also dating can be that way just in general, because especially dating in your 30 somethings, because women start to see themselves on this clock that we're riding this clock.
Yeah.
And just,
is it really like a thing though? Or is it just like a lot of things were put in place?
Well, I don't know because I haven't dated since 2009. Well, but I do feel like my single friends, I mean, the stuff that I've heard them talk about is crazy. And when I tell you my single friends, they're like some bad ums. Yeah. I don't cuss on the podcast. I cuss in real life. I don't cuss on the podcast. Yeah. But they own homes, they got businesses, they got investment accounts, and they're still single. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I would wife you.
I get that. And I also think it's also like, I mean, think about the kind of dynamics we talked about with both of our husbands, right? Like it takes a specific kind of person to be okay with someone traveling or having a difference in terms of like, I don't know, certain aspect of values and goals. Like me and my husband, we very much like had the same goals and values when it came to like integrity and stuff like that. But other things, every time I take on a new project, he's just like, I mean,
all right.
It really is like, but that's also like one of my values. I think one of the things is, one, media would have people thinking that everything is like a pop balloon challenge. Like thinking that there are so many men who have this thought process of trying to like sublimate women or thinking women need to be submissive. I have a couple of like male friends. None of them think like the ways I see on like the clickbait kind of things. But I would also say the ones that are single, most of them are also not out and about like that. So it's also a struggle of being like, where are people meeting people? Because as much as like these women are a lot of times talking about like, I want to meet these ambitious men, they're at work too. Also, where are they going to meet you? Because once again, you're at work. The only time you travel is for a conference. Yeah. So it's just like, I think it also is a value system of the same way women deserve more. I think a lot of times men deserve more.
I also think men deserve more. My husband has lots of single friends and they are also doing pretty well.
Oh, but did you see this post about how like a lot of married women and couples, like we're getting like all this fire because Sierra introduced her friend to her like future husband, and they're just like, so my Normani, married friends,
or I think her name's Normani, or
maybe I never get the names. Of course, Sierra, because I love Sierra. But being like, a lot of people were like, so basically, what you're telling me is my married friends are slacking because they have not introduced me to my future husband or wife.
I introduced people when I was actually speaking at NASDAQ in New York, and one of the guys on the panel was a COO, and he worked for Microsoft, and I just started having a conversation with him. I don't even know how we got on the subject of marriage and looking for dating and all that, but somehow we went there. And then I was like, you know what? I got your wife. So I called my friend back here in Nashville on FaceTime, and I said, girl, I just met your husband. He's right here. What? So I connected them right in that moment because what he was saying exactly what he was saying aligned with a lot of the stuff she's told me. Yeah. And I was like, y'all are gonna work. And I think that they're doing all right. This was a couple months ago, but I literally introduced them on FaceTime. I felt like both of them were equally yoked as far as like careers, because she also she's an executive, and she, like I said, she's a boss too. So it was putting together two people who had the same kind of values just based off of a 5-minute conversation I'm having with him. But I do introduce my friends.
So that means I need to do better, technically. I mean, I have no problem asking people if they're single. I travel a bunch. I remember doing this post that did really well about like, you need to go to conferences to meet people. And I'm like, I tell my friends this all the time. And so many people were like, okay, so I'm your new friend. Yeah. Can you just like bring me to the conference with you? Because there's a lot of the people who are like equally, you met them on the job.
I'm also a really good people reader. So like I introduced my best friend to her husband, and he's a Grammy nominated artist. And
so what I'm hearing is I need to do better. Because I always just be like, I'm not asking this man.
I hook people up who are going to level up. Yeah. And so that's kind of my thing. Because I don't want either person to feel like they just got stuck with a situation. I want people to. Yeah.
I think a good partnership helps you to level up. I wouldn't be at the level I'm at without my partnership. And I'm in so many different spaces. Yeah. And there's never a discomfort with that, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, I always going to have the support I need. Yeah. And it's also like, I think a lot of people look towards relationships because like of the biological clock thing. Yeah. But when it comes to, and I don't want to say relationships, when it comes to a good relationship, it's easier. Yeah. It's way easier not having to worry about like, pick up and drop off at times. It's way easier not having to worry about support.
Yeah. While you are out of town. It's
I don't even call. He says I ruin the vibe when I call. Like the boys start tripping.
Yeah.
So I call when they're asleep to check in, like to say, how are you?
Yeah.
I can't talk to my kids during the day when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I have to beg for pictures.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, it's like once they hear your voice, they start getting all whiny. So I'd prefer if you didn't call.
How old is your oldest?
6. Well,
okay.
He turned 6 in May. I round up.
Yeah.
So I've turned him 6 in my brain. So 6.
See, I'm rounding down because I want Rain to stay small.
Really?
I'm like, I just like yesterday I dropped her. Oh, girl, when I like sent her to ballet yesterday and she put on a little outfit, I was like, oh my God, my heart. Ugh.
See, it's like it's both because I have the 3-year-old. So I always have like the younger one. But my oldest is very much like me. And me as an adult, as a child, I very much like stayed to myself. My mom always said, you just needed to give me a book and a puzzle. I'd come up for air eventually. But he's like me now, which is amazing. Great critical thinker. It's exhausting. It's exhausting rearing these critical thinking, intelligent children.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
it's
I'm just
hard raising you, huh?
It is hard raising me. Oh my gosh. And I said this to my mom. My mom was like, I didn't even have to raise you this way. I literally could just give you a book.
But that's why I asked you the question at the beginning. If some of us just come here with the heart disposition of who we are and what we're meant to do.
Temperament, yes.
Yeah.
My oldest and my youngest have very different temperaments to the point where I, at some point, had a concern about my youngest going to school because his temperament is it's just more difficult. That's just what it is.
He's ready to turn up.
Always. It's never turned down. His default switch is like turn up. But it's like, it's certain things are temperament. And that's why a lot of times parents will be like, I don't know where they got this from, if it was me or their other parent. And it's like, well, they can also get stuff just from them. Like, yes, there's very much a thing about the parental dynamic, but like, it's also an occupational hazard where I'm like, some stuff is just
who they are.
That's their
what
temperament.
They came here with.
Yeah, like very much my youngest, his birthday party just passed. He could not possibly care less about the birthday party. He very much is just like, oh. But my oldest at this age, he was talking about his birthday party. His birthday is in May, probably talking about it in November.
Oh, okay.
To plan for the next year. Like they just have a very different temperament.
Astrology?
I do not.
Okay, because
I do not.
Last night, I mean, I don't really know much about it, and I've never paid much attention to it. I will say I used to read like 17 magazine and Cosmo.
All of us did, though.
Yeah, and I would be like, what? Like, it said I was meeting a man today. I'm like
I am 14 years old.
What is happening?
I always thought those were a little too mature, too, because
do
you remember like you could write a letter in?
Yeah.
And I used to remember reading them and being like,
wait a minute.
Wait, what are you talking about? Dating? I have soccer. I remember reading it.
Like cheerleading practice tonight. Like, what do you mean?
And being like, I don't think this is for. I'm gonna still read it, but I don't think this is for me,
girl. I was in the nail salon yesterday, and they were playing. Gosh, why is my mom brain is kicking in? Somebody's sleeping in my bed, messing with my head.
But you knew all the words, right?
Yes.
Even though we should not have known all the words.
Do I know this song like this? Like, what's happening? I'm just like, this is not okay. The fact that I was walking around in 2000
as a young kid
singing this.
Yes, I was singing "Ladies, Leave Your Man at Home." The club is full of ballers and their pockets full grown. And it's just like, I don't know what I'm saying.
But how healthy is that for us? How is that working out with everybody that you have seen? Have you seen a lot of these lyrics transpire into our situation?
A lot of people, I remember seeing this little trend of being like, where was this club, Beyonce, Kelly, Michelle? That club, where was it?
At the 4040 Club in New York. It was 50, whatever it was called, Jay-Z's club in New York.
But that club don't exist anymore. Now it's like, I mean, I've never seen. And also, ladies, leave your man at home. What kind of relationships are we fostering here?
Well, I mean, if we talk about Glorilla's lyrics, and
I love Glorilla.
I love Glow too. Look, I said, it's 7 p.m. I ain't got no.
I've been thinking it like, ever since listening to her song, I'm like, I don't do enough on a Friday. I don't think I appreciate them appropriately. Because someone who appreciates Fridays.
Yes.
It's Glorilla.
Yes, at 7 p.m., honey. We are closing laptops on Friday.
Mind you, I'm just being like, are you going to eat the chicken strips or not? Please, just eat the food.
Okay, you're not invited back to the podcast because we're having too much fun.
I'm sorry. Yes. What were the questions?
I don't know, because I hadn't even looked at them.
I do not appreciate Fridays well. I'll be
you know what? Like, I apparently don't appreciate life very well after listening to Glove's lyrics.
I mean, but you know what? And I think that's what most of us love about her. It's like, you know how most white women are like, you better get it, you young tenderoni. You better appreciate.
Why do you sound like an 80-year-old?
Because I am, though, for real. Like, please don't listen. I would be like, you better go on ahead. You know, like, no, I'm the corniest professor all my students have.
Oh my God.
All the time. I'm like, y'all, I'm chill, but like, I'm an old lady. The only reason why I stay
have
up on
you always been like this?
I have always been like this. The reason I used to want to be a chef, and I was going to go to culinary school. Did the interviews and like
oh my God,
everything.
My eyeball won't stop now.
But I was like, I just don't think this is a fiscally responsible decision to be a chef. It just does not seem. It's just like I think I'm going to go into the medical. I've never been able to have reckless abandon. Like it's always been like, well, this just doesn't seem reasonable.
So you would have been a chef if you did have reckless abandon, though.
Yeah, I mean,
what else would you have done with your life?
Chef. Like, I think that's the only difference.
You can still do that, though.
Are we going to add another job? So we got
influencer,
full-time professor, podcaster,
mom,
wife.
Yeah.
Currently still conducting research. I'm creating a new model for Black identity development. Speaking. I do health education courses for clinicians. And now we're going to add chef. I mean, I cook because there's no way to have a Southern man also. He always says this is how I tricked him. Because now I'm just like, I mean, you make that dish so well. Do you really need meat to make the dish? But in the beginning, like, constantly. I mean, come on. It's really like, and this isn't like back in the day. I totally get it, feminism, womanism, but cooking really does make stuff a lot easier, y'all. I'm just saying, like, gets me out of a lot of stuff. I'll apologize and be like, I also made some chicken biscuits.
Yeah.
If
does
you want
he like
them.
Nashville hot chicken?
He does. Okay. He likes spicy. I don't think my food should be work.
Yeah.
Him and his mom, and his sister, very much into spicy. Versus I can never get it spicy enough. I will be like, I'm about to knock his socks off. Still grab for the hot sauce. I'd be like, what?
Oh my God.
I'm cooking. I'm doing so much. I'm sneezing. Like, it's just like, yeah, it got a little kick to it. A little kick.
This little red kick, pepper,
smoked paprika, all that.
Well, I want to ask you some questions around Black mental health.
Yeah.
So we're going to get serious and we're going to stop laughing.
Oh, that's not going to happen. I can't be serious for longer than 30 seconds.
Well, you know what?
But I can make it a lesson too.
But Black mental health, I feel like we are just magical and comical and all of that to deal with our Black mental health.
Yeah, I actually just did a post about, do you watch Abbott Elementary?
No, I haven't watched it. Everyone says it's so good, and I have yet to watch it. I barely watch TV. Motherhood won't let me live to watch TV.
Oh, well, yeah. Certain shows I will always make time for. But she's also like based in Philly, and I'm from Philly. There's a scene where one of the main characters, Ava, she's on a date, and she just keeps having these like little snarky comments and like all of these little jokes and it's like one of those mockumentary where they look at the camera and stuff, and you see like she's not really registering that she's hurting the guy's feelings at all. And then towards the end of the date, you could tell she kind of thinks it's going well and like, oh, what are we going to do next? And he gets the check and he's like, I figured, let's just end this now since you're having such a terrible time. And she's like, what? Why do you think I'm having a terrible time? And he said, you've been making fun of me all night. And she just never, it's like it's her shield. So the post I did was about like when your humor stems from fear, right? Like of maybe your emotions were never normalized, which what happens with a lot of Black people, or your emotions were something where you were kind of attacked for them or they were seen as a weakness. You come up with this little comedy because you get to control the tone when you get to be a comedian. Like you really get to kind of buffer the seriousness of a situation. So I mentioned that in dating, of course, it's doing very well because so many people saw themselves in that and being like, that also like it buffers you from also having some kind of emotional depth. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm funny. That gets old. Yeah. It's like, I actually want to learn more about you than like, yes, I get it. You're funny. But that happens a lot with Black people. Like, it's very much like a shield. Yeah. Like, is your humor a shield? Is it a way for you to manage stuff? I also just enjoy us. Like, I do too, but like we also got to realize like, all right now, like I'm asking you about the depths of your soul. You try to make me laugh. I know, I'm not calling you back for this date. But even in worship, but it's just funny because I was watching this video of Marvin Sapp and he was doing Never Would Have Made It.
but the remix with Ricky Smiley and like
is that the okay? Wait, because now these gospel the remixes with the DJs, they're killing it. Because I can't even. I just posted one that was super inappropriate, but it was amazing.
Yes,
with the gospel music and.
Yeah,
and I was just at the same time.
The gospel music and the twerk music, and everybody was laughing and they were all dancing, and it was just funny, and it was just like, okay, I feel like spiritually fed, I feel emotionally fed, I feel well.
So but that's different though, because if someone's, it's different than if you notice cues. Like, so one of the things we do as psychologists, we point out trends. So like, when does your humor make itself apparent? Is it when we're getting too close to a topic that you're uncomfortable with? If that's always a joke, like maybe you have a difficult relationship with your parents, and every time we mention parents, that's when you turn on and decide to be like Ricky Smiley. Is it when you're talking about previous relationships and you've been seriously hurt and you haven't really processed them, and every time I ask you about like what you learned from your previous relationship or exes, that's when you decide to turn on Dave Chappelle. Like, there's also the trend of, when does your humor become apparent? Like, is it like we're kicking it? Yeah. But if it's like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get to know you better, and as soon as I touch this particular topic, you become a comedian, that's when it's an issue, right? Because it's like, it's a buffer. Like, you're using your humor as a shield. Yeah. And that's going to get in the way of you having some level of emotional depth, like of that person getting to know you. And if you want to keep them at arm's length, that's what you're going to do. And you won't keep them as arm's length, and they gonna stop calling you. But like pastors, make me laugh, man. Like, you know, most of the time
I feel like it's relational.
Church, like,
yes. Like, but all of it. Yes. Like the crying, like it's just being able to express all the emotions.
Yeah. And you got to think about it as a shield. Like, there's so many different things. There's sarcasm as a shield. There's the humor as a shield. But think about, like, if anyone needs a shield more than anybody else, it's Black people. So it's understandable of just being like, it's our default, because really, currently and historically, you got to laugh to stop from crying. Like, even most healthcare professionals I know, we have a very dark humor.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of intense stuff, and it's just like, dark humor, and it's still like, they call it gallows humor, because it's like making a joke back in the old day when you're going to the gallows and, you know, you're about to get hanged or whatever. Yeah. But like, most healthcare professionals I know, our humor is awful. Like,
you're funny.
Yeah. It's just like, hey guys,
but
this is terrible.
But I feel like life needs that humor, especially given our climate right now, which is what I want to talk about with our Black mental health, is how can we maintain a healthy, what is my word that I'm looking for? Because I'm having mom brain again here.
Yeah. You know, I also want to mention, you mentioned mom brain twice, but I do want to say, and this isn't just for you, this is for everyone. A lot of times, we as mothers will say mom brain is kind of like a disparaging thing, but it's also the fact that like our brains prioritize what's necessary. So I bet you know what Rain ate. I bet you know what Rain's doing. Yeah. It's not like your brain is on what it needs to be on. You're hyper aware. Yes. Yeah. So all the moms like, like, well, it's not like we're forgetting stuff.
It's 11 a.m. It's probably 11:30. I've lived 10 lives already.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of times moms will be like, oh, mom brain, I'm not remembering the right stuff. But it's like, I had mom brain where I couldn't remember my name half the time, but my child was fed on his schedule. Yes. I made sure everything. So also realize mom brain is good. Yeah. The most important job we have is to keep them alive, even though half the time I feel like my children are in direct, like they try to fight my main goal of keeping them alive.
Exactly.
Leaping off of couches. But yeah.
I know.
I just mentioned like mom brain is good.
Well, this is why I say to be on the podcast, because she therapizes me. I'm like, I need it, because I'm like, yes.
Mom brain is good. Yeah. Like you know what Rain ate. You know what she's doing.
I know exactly where she is, what she's doing, what we're doing when I pick her up, what time, and all of that.
Exactly. But so don't think it's a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Our brains... And I do think we do have a lot of mom guilt on top of mom brain, because we're like, I can't get my brain. I don't know why I can't remember what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I can't remember such and such's name. I know his name. I don't know why I can't get from point A to point B. Yeah. I don't know why I missed my turn. It's just like all these little things, but you know everything that you mentioned. Like I know all the little details.
And I think it gets in the way of compassion for yourself. Like that query. Sure. So instead of being like, why can't I remember this? It's just like, oh, let me take a minute. Cause like, I can't remember it because I can't remember a million other things. But just the whole compassion.
I'm the youngest
stuff.
of 5, and I'm very much so like, I don't know how my mom did it, which is probably why she's like, y'all raise your own kids.
Yeah, because she's done it. When it comes to the grandparent thing, I always say like because there's this whole conversation that people have about like the grandparents are different. But I don't think
they are different.
They are different. But I don't think a lot of people even think about the aspect of like the lack of resources most of our parents had. And other grandparents didn't really have a choice. It's like, oh, of course I had to watch my grandchild, even though I'm in my retirement that I earned. I think the issue is more so not grandparents being different, but not being upfront about, hey, and you look like y'all look real happy. Y'all look like y'all about to have kids. Just a heads up. I'm not going for it. Like, you know, like, so I think the issue is my mom was
always like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the issue to me. The issue is like, oh, I said I'd babysit forever. And then like, I do happen to be in Antigua though. Yeah. So like the issue, like, because we also need to realize that like a lot of times the grandparents, they had to do that because their kids had to work and they had to use their entire, my whole issue is like, all right, so if you're not going to help me out with the baby to a certain extent, you need to tell me that because I need to find a nanny. It's going to take me 10 months
my mom
to do
was
that.
very transparent. See, but she was transparent when I was a teenager. Don't bring no kids here.
To me, that is the healthiest way. And then for you to be like, I expected more. Like, girl, I've been telling you since she was 14.
Yeah, I mean, my mom has literally, yes. And when I tell you I'm the youngest of 5, nobody had kids until they got in their 30s, and everybody has a nanny. Yeah. Everybody. So everybody was like, yeah, Kay said she wasn't doing it. Kay is not doing it.
Yeah, like mom wasn't joking. Like for real. Like she's not doing it.
Kay was dead serious. She said, I have 5 kids. And girl, that is her badge of honor. Literally, she came up here, she went to church with me, and she was talking to one of my friends at church who has 3 kids. And she said, well, I had 5 kids. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I've been in these trenches and I'm not going back with my grandkids. Like that's kind of
she's not. No, she's just not. So it is what it is.
I feel like that's honest.
I did have to adjust to that. And I did go to therapy because I was like, I think I had, because I'm also the youngest, I had this expectation. I also stayed at home with my mom. Yeah. So I had this expectation that she would be the same nurturer that she was when I was at home with her, when I was a little girl.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, yeah. So
even though she said it, like, I'm not doing it.
Even though she told me, yeah. Exactly. But I was resorting back to the mom who was the room mom who was making cookies and cupcakes for everybody. My mom was like the ultimate room mom. Yeah. I'm like, sis, where's she at? Like, where's Kay? Like, where is that
because mom and grandma not the same. No. Versus, so I have the opposite. Like, my mom, at one point, my mom never cared if I was bored. Like, because she would always be like, the same thing I actually say to my sons now, like, how can you be bored with all these books in the house? It's one of the reasons why I read so much. She got a bounce house when we were visiting because she didn't want my sons to be bored. And I said, you have never in your life cared if I was bored. Yeah. You said it's not possible to be bored when you can read and you have books. But just the thought process of them being bored, got a bounce house. Yeah. On a random Saturday. It wasn't a holiday. Yeah. And I was just like, so this woman cares about the kids being bored. My mother, that is not the
it's not the same.
No, that woman never cared about me being bored. She said, you can read. Yeah. You have like 50 different worlds you can enter in right now. There's no such thing.
It's an interesting psychology.
Yeah. No, it's not the same woman who raised me.
No, it's not the same. And I say that all the time. I actually was telling Alex that we were driving. My mother-in-law wants me to drop Rain off in Memphis. And Alex has 900.
Sounds amazing.
She will be dropped off in Memphis. You know what? Because this is the thing. Fantastic. You know what? It does sound fantastic, especially because my mother-in-law is the ultimate grandmother. So I will give her flowers. My mother-in-law is very hands-on, and she's very like, she sends care packages. My husband is 34 and he still gets care packages.
I do too. So, my mom actually tried to not give me a Valentine's Day package this year. And she got told off. And you know what you did. And I did get my package. What the heck, man? Yes. Just because I'm a mom? What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're used to, it's like, come on. Like, what's happening? Yeah. But Rain will go to Memphis because Memphis has a special place for all of us. I don't know if you watch every TV show. Literally, did you watch Paradise, since we're talking about TV shows?
I did watch Paradise.
Okay, so his wife was from where?
Oh, well, no, I know she was going to Atlanta.
She was from Memphis.
Was she really?
Yeah, and when you watch most TV shows, for whatever reason, they point back to Memphis. I noticed it a lot. I can't name all of them right now, but I promise you, start paying attention.
Okay. So Reasonable Doubt. I don't know if you've seen that show. It's a very good show. The psychologist on that show, season 2, she's from Nashville.
Yeah. Well, look,
she was telling Morris Chestnut he was trying to like date, and she was just like, I'm a doctor from Nashville. So if you want to date me, you ask me on a date. You don't just say, can we hang out?
Well, this is
read him
ground.
For filth. And he was like, I'll do better.
Yeah.
And it's Morris Chestnut.
But where was he from on the show?
I don't know, but I know he was
not a Southern man, apparently.
No, she very much said, what do you mean hang out?
Yeah.
She's like, that's not how you ask me on a date.
Not a Southern woman.
Yeah, that's what she said.
But Rain will go to Memphis because that's where the culture is. And
I've only been to Memphis once, and it was to speak at Rhodes College. That was it. I've never actually been to like kick it.
You need to take the kids. Take them to the Civil Rights Museum. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
You need to take them to a Grizzlies game. There's nothing like a Grizzlies game.
I know, it's my husband's favorite team.
Yes, and there's nothing like whoop that trick.
Yeah, Young Dolph. Let me tell you something. I love me some Young Dolph. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You know, it's just like, yes, they need to go to Memphis, if nothing else, just to eat. Like the food.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Memphis, we just eat. Like,
when they can become more reasonable. We went to Chattanooga for spring break, and that was a 2-hour drive.
Chattanooga's great too.
Yeah, when they can become more reasonable people, I'll do a 3-hour drive with them because we also don't do much screen time. So like, they're unreasonable at times.
Okay, well, we're shifting this conversation because I have some questions for you specifically around.
And did I even answer the Black mental health thing?
You didn't. We got off track, but that's okay.
Black mental health. One of the things that you can do is foster your community, right? Like a lot of us are dealing with collective grief in this moment, and a lot of us are dealing with the aspect of having loss of trust for people that don't look like us or even people that do look like us. So I would state that one of the things is to foster community in the way that you need to. Family of origin and family of choice are the same, right? My mom has one sister, but I call a million people auntie because that's the family that she's created for me. I would say get used to connecting with people more, going out to events. Even we just met each other at an event, and trying to find out who your community is, because a lot of us didn't have the blessing of being born into the family that we deserve or deserves us, but you can build the family you deserve, and you're going to need that support system in the upcoming year. So the biggest thing with Black mental health and well-being is like, get out of the house or even try to build more community, because that's a really big support system. It's not always about therapy isn't the only path to healing. It doesn't have a monopoly on healing. But whatever path you take is going to be paved with community. So build your community, build the family you deserve. And most of us need that. And one of the ways I see people doing that is like hobbies, like going on Eventbrite and going to events and stuff like that. And also trying not to monetize everything. Everything doesn't have to be a money gathering thing. Like I know we have that mindset of feeling like we have to earn our places.
No, we can do a mom date in the park.
And it doesn't even have to cost money, right? Like it could be a mom date at the park or the library, but like just feeling more comfortable opening yourself up. And not always using humor as a shield, because it really gets in the way of depth. Like, especially as parents, like I need someone who I can just be like, why won't they eat the food that they asked for? Like you have to feel comfortable doing that.
And I just need to vent.
You just need to vent. So like, I would say that's a big thing with Black mental health and well-being right now. Like it impacts all of us. There is not one person that won't be impacted by mental health, but
should we be watching the news?
To a certain extent. I mean, I always say you stay informed so you can stay critical, but also pay attention to your body language and stuff like that when you're listening to the news. If your fists are balled up like Arthur, if your shoulders are at your ears, you can take a step back, because that's really what it is. I always say,
see, she tries not to be funny, but she's still funny.
If anybody needs a joke, it's someone who specializes in trauma. It's somebody with trauma. You see what I'm saying? So like if anyone deserves a chuckle.
No, I hear you.
I've been working with you for years.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a little chuckle before I tell you and read you for filth. Like, that was great. But once again, we're working on this and you're not doing that. You're not doing your homework. So enjoy that laugh. We got 10 minutes to talk about why you're not doing your homework, though.
I know.
And that switch is that quick. Like, that's great. Why didn't you do your homework?
That's also the mom in you.
Yeah.
That is the mom in you.
And like just being like, love it for you.
Yeah. And it's constant regulation.
And I think that's the humanity in it, right? Like, I think so many times people feel as though like, I think that's why that is one of the reasons why I started social media. It's just being like thinking that clinicians look one way and operate one way. I'm a Black East Coast woman. Like I teach, I do clinical work, but I also try to foster autonomy in my patients. So one of the things, even just Black mental health wise, is just being like, you don't need therapy to work on your healing. It's incredibly helpful. It's one of the reasons why I share so many resources. But one of the things is also taking the time to think about what you want to work on.
Yeah.
And kind of finding resources with that. Like, I think that's one of the most important things. It's like, we can take control of our health and well-being, but you have to prioritize it, because a lot of people will be like, oh, it's just a physical health issue. Mental health and physical health is linked. High blood pressure is not solely about the way we eat. It's about the fact that, like, when you're presented with a trauma or a stressor, chronic stress, that makes us have high blood pressure too. So a lot of my father-in-law, he has high blood pressure and he eats pretty well, but he also has always had like a pretty stressful job. He's retired now. So it's not even just what you eat. It's like, it's also our lifestyle as well. So build family you deserve. Listen to, you know, podcasts like this where you get what I call like free game. Like, in my opinion, when people are having guests on, you can actually ask questions, listen to the podcast, read the book, look at the documentary.
I told somebody that yesterday. I was talking to a friend and she needed to be motivated. I'm like, have you listened to this season of The Sweet House? Because the first episode, War and Treaty said they had $8 left. And then my sister took them on tour with them and their career shot off. Yeah. Anne said she started a business in a garage and now she's got a showroom in Green Hills. Yeah. I'm like, you are building this huge, I don't even think you realize your impact on social media, like on and off social media. You're doing all the research, but you're telling all of us exactly what we need to hear and do.
It's free
for
game.
Free. Yes. Yeah, and then the best part about something that you just said for me is that therapy's not our only outlet. It's not the one end all be all for healing. We can do a lot of other things also. But also the fact that you are focused on, you know, healing Black people.
Oh yeah. Like always.
Yes. Because I also think that you need to go to therapists who look like you to some degree. At least that has been my experience. I will say I went to a therapist who was not a mom. I don't think that she understood mom life. So when I was talking to her about some of the things I was experiencing as a first-time mom, she was like, tell me a little bit more.
But that doesn't mean that she wait. All right, now that doesn't mean that she didn't understand. Maybe she just wanted you to.
I don't think that worked out. And then also, when it comes to couples therapy, my husband and I see, which we haven't in a while, but we do see a man and a woman. Their names are Rob and Robin. They are here in Nashville.
You see two people?
Yes, a husband and a wife. They are wonderful. When Alex cannot hear me,
I'll be honest, I've never seen that dynamic.
Yes, ma'am, it's wonderful. When Alex can't hear me, or when I can't hear him, Rob says to him, Jasmine was trying to say blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And Robin says, oh, Jasmine, they're decoding our languages and they're able
in real time.
Yes, in real time. And then they're able to feed it back to us. And then we're both looking at each other like, oh, that's what you were trying to say. That's the tone that you were trying to say it in. I didn't receive it that way. But it's been helpful for me to find people who kind of have the same background.
Oh, yeah. Because you don't want to decode a bunch of stuff. I will say that therapist, the one that wasn't a mom. Yeah. That's also like a limitation with their expertise, because I shouldn't have to have had that experience to be able to not only empathize with it, but that's what our training is in, right? Like, I worked with family therapy before I had children. Yeah. Me not being able to grasp the intricacies of like postpartum anxiety and depression, stressors with social like all of that, I would have never been able to help my child was only 6. I've been doing therapy for over a decade at this point. So that's also a limitation with them, because you know, like,
they should have been trained to handle.
Yeah, like me not having children. I should still be able to help parents.
And I stuck with it for a few sessions.
Oh, I don't do that. I've had to fire my own psychologist before.
I stuck with her for a few sessions, but I definitely was like, and the same thing happened to my sister. My sister found a therapist, and my sister's like, she's very high we all are. My mom raised very high functioning kids that are doing.
Well, there's 5 of you. She couldn't do it all.
Yeah. Doing like incredible things. Yeah. And I think my sister went to this therapist, and she also was like hoping that the lady would almost be like a motivational, like a life coach at this. Cause I feel like I need a therapist that's also like a life coach. Like I need.
Well, you can have a therapist and a coach.
Can I see you?
Yeah, but you can have both. You can have a therapist and a coach. Yeah. Like that. There's both, right? Like And honestly, some people who make a really significant, like they're able to like streamline and make more progress, they likely have a therapist and a coach. Like you can have both. I'm not one of those people who think like there's no room for coaches. That is not me. I think the same way that there could be bad individuals who are licensed, coaches aren't licensed. There can be bad, well, not all of them, but there can be licensed and unlicensed people who cause harm.
Yeah.
But you can have a therapist and a coach.
Yeah.
Like you can share the goals that you're working on in therapy with your coach, and they can be more streamlined in what they're doing. Coaches can't diagnose and they can't do assessments, but that's also not their goal. I've never met a coach who's just like, oh, yeah, I really want to do therapy. They're typically like, absolutely not. So we've reached a point where I think you need a therapist. I can help you with this.
Absolutely.
They can help you with that. You can have a therapist and a coach.
Yeah.
You got both.
But see, that's why we need you. And that's why we need somebody.
Because what I do isn't therapy. So I always say that, like, use the resources. That's actually what a coach would do.
Real. It's very real information. And a lot of what you say online is very tied to current events, pop culture, things that we're experiencing. A lot of and then even the comments are healing because
especially if somebody talks to me crazy, I'll be like, oh, you've lost your mind. Let me help you find it. Let me help you find that.
You know what? Sometimes I just read the comments on posts anyways, because I'm like, I want to see what the rest of the world thinks too. So, but that's the cool part about social media.
It is. I think the engagement, like when it's done well, a lot of people who have like accounts, they'll be like, I don't read the comments. I read the comments because sometimes it lets me.
Comments. I watch videos in full.
Do you think that's because you also like you create content? Like, do you think it's also because you get how much time and energy went into creating all that?
I do think so. Yeah. I do have a different appreciation for everyone who shows up on the internet. And I do consider most everybody valuable people to provide information. Like I look at social media as the social media network that it's a social network that it was designed to be.
And engagement is the point to me. Like,
I don't know why people just scroll and like look at people's stuff and don't actually engage. Like I am
well, they're doom scrolling. A lot of people doom scroll.
Yes, which I had a question about that on here about doom scrolling. Gosh, I can't even find the question. Where was it?
Was it kind of like, why do people doom scroll?
Oh, yes. I was like, what's a more practical way people can break free from the cycle and also stay informed? Because it's like, there is so much information. The other night I was watching this video of some crazy stuff that's happening where I don't even want to talk about. I'm not even going to say it on the podcast. I'm not giving light to it.
Okay.
But it was something that was happening with immigration and all this craziness. And I'm pretty sure you've probably seen the video. And so then I start scrolling. I couldn't even sleep that night. I'm just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to take in this kind of social media content. So let me go and fix my algorithm, which you guys, you can fix your algorithm.
That's one of the first steps. Tell everybody how to do it.
Yes. Yeah. You can research happy. Yeah. And the AI on the algorithms is now incredible. Also, when you leave a comment on somebody's post, it'll pop up a little note that'll tell you what the post is about. And then you can click on the little comment and it will take you to further conversations around this particular subject. So I'm seeking positivity. I'm seeking light.
Yeah.
Put that in your search bar, comment on people's posts that are engaging and light and whatever you want to know about.
Yeah.
So, and on all the platforms.
That's the perfect way to do it. I tell people to do that with their platforms. I also say like, because a lot of times people think self-care is indulgent and most of the time it's not. One of my self-care is like I plug my phone up downstairs before going to bed.
Yeah.
Because I will doom scroll. You also have to know the limits of what you can do.
Yeah.
Certain things I don't have self-control.
Yeah.
Like if my phone is next to me, I'm going to scroll to a ridiculous amount of time. My self-care to stop me from doom scrolling is I plug my phone up downstairs. Like you have to know. Some people are very good like, oh, my phone can be here and I'll be fine. That's not me. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
I have to plug my phone up downstairs.
I'm good at it. I think it's just because this is my job and this is what I've been doing for a long time. So I put it on Do Not Disturb and it sits right beside the bed.
I still do it.
Yeah.
My phone goes on Do Not Disturb at 8.
Yeah.
I am that's why you gotta know you like you're better.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's like I kind of have to like no, Raquel, you can't. You don't have self-control.
If anything, I'm more of a producer of social content than I am a consumer. And I'm also not easily influenced. So somebody has to really be an expert at what they're doing for me to like take it all in and put it into practice in my life.
Oh, well, that's what Beyonce says, dude. Beyonce always says, not always, but she says post, don't scroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Honestly, yeah. Or find people who are also inspirational the same way that I'm playing matchmaker with my friends. I'm playing matchmaker with myself in all aspects. So
that's a very good way to put that.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking for people who inspire me. I'm looking for people to connect with. Like, I don't want to just scroll and like and comment on nonsense. I think that's why I have a hard time with TikTok. To be honest, I
like the nonsense though. TikTok is how I keep connected with the youths.
Yeah.
Because nobody around me is their age. But I also, you know what? I also typically, so you know how you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok or anything, and you can do the For You or the following. I only stay on the following tab.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm following my people, you know, like the people that I've cultivated. Yeah. I don't often go to the For You thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's like nonsense versus I've already vetted the people that I follow. So I know that they're not posting foolishness. I very rarely go to the For You tab.
Yeah. But then now the algorithms have changed to introduce people that may be of interest.
They don't do that on the For You tab. Yeah. I mean, on the following tab.
Yeah. Well, you have to turn it off in your settings.
But, I go to the top and it says For You. A lot of people don't know this. They do this on Instagram and I'll just click following and it's just like, no interest. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know, like, what's Jasmine doing? I don't care about him.
Yeah.
I'm going to scroll soon enough. I'll see her.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But I think also connecting with people off the internet. There are people that I've been friends with on the internet for a long time that I finally met them in person. I was at a dinner last night with NARS Cosmetics and they said they were headed to Dallas today to do an event. And one of my friends, we have only ever met on the internet. But when I tell you, like, we gas each other up like we know each other in real life, I was like, oh, y'all going to see Sierra? Like, tell her I love her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm just like, it's okay to have internet friendships too.
Oh, yeah. And I would think so.
Yes. And I'm actually going to go to Dallas in a couple weeks. I don't know if I'll get to see her because I'm going for my cousin's baby shower. But it is still nice to know that I know women all over the world from social media who have the same interests and are doing the same thing that I'm doing.
I would say it's more approachable that way because most of us are like out and about. So it's harder to see people in person, right? Like we've both lived in Nashville I've been here for 4 years now. The only reason why I met you was like at an event.
Yeah.
Even like the event met through Morgan. Morgan, the only reason why I met her is because like I randomly saw that she lived in Nashville and I last year was very intentional about making new friends.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty much like, I've had the same friends for 5 years, so like 5 is plenty.
Yeah.
Trust issues, East Coaster. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But last year, one of my goals at the beginning of the year was to be more intentional about building out with friends. And I literally just saw her mention Nashville, and I just said, "You're a mom. I'm a mom. Did you want to do lunch?" And that's how I just met way more people. But before last year, I'd be like, I've had the same friends for 5 years. I don't need new friends.
Yeah.
I had to be intentional about making new friends.
I collect people.
Yeah. See, but that was never me. I was more so like, yeah, I mean, I'm good. I've always been like, I kind of think you only need like a couple of good people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not Jesus. I don't need the disciple. And see what happened, you know, with him with them disciples, that one, that one guy. So I've always been like, I think we only need a couple people. And I have like, I've always been like, I have really good friends. So I'm good. Last year was the first year I was just like, I want to be better at this because it really was a trust thing.
Yeah.
Because if you have friends around you, I stay at home a lot. They're going to be around my babies.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like having to vet new people.
Yeah.
So it was also like shielding myself off because trust.
Yeah.
So I had to be more intentional about that.
But I also think that's rule number one.
Have to though. I'm a psychologist. Like you kind of got to know. How am I asking you to go farther than I've gone in myself when it comes to awareness?
100%.
Yeah.
But that's rule number one, I think, when we're navigating social media and our mental health is knowing yourself and knowing your capacity to take in all of this information.
Yes. Know your capacity. And the kind of way you check in with that is like how your thoughts are going during a scenario or even in your body.
Yeah.
Like noticing tension, because then I think, especially like Black people, a lot of people benefit from us not being plugged into our body. Like we push past our capacity to do that extra job or to do work, or we don't take off because God forbid we take off to take care of ourselves. We have to think about people benefit from us not being plugged into our body. It's so easy for us to get to a 10 on the frustration scale or the anger scale when we wake up at an 8 every day. And a lot of times that's because we're disconnected from our body. So like even taking the first step to think about like what your capacity looks like. A lot of times I'll tell people to work backwards. Like what's a time where you lost it, where you had like you snapped at someone, you got upset, you broke down in a really difficult moment. Let's work backwards. What were the signs and the cues up until that point that something was off? Because your body gives you signals.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people say like stress is a silent killer. It's not. Like you having issues sleeping, that was loud. You having low frustration tolerance and irritability, that was loud. You only finding joy in like eating more like calorie dense like sweets instead of having joy in anything else, that was loud. You no longer having interest in activities you used to love, that was loud. Stress is not the silent killer. But
They're signs.
They're signs. Yeah. So like I tell a lot of people, work backwards. Like when you had that moment where you were outside of yourself, you don't like the way you reacted, you don't like the way you treated that person. What were the signs that you should have taken a step back? Yeah. And like, hopefully, let's make sure we don't get to that again. But stress is not the silent killer. There were signs.
Yeah. No. Yeah. She comes with so much wisdom. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Sweet House. And I hope you go find Dr. Martin on all social media. Yes. She's also doing some TV appearances. And
yeah, let's hope we get some more. I loved it. It was so fun.
And she's got her podcast. So go follow her podcast as well. Mm-hmm. She is constantly just giving us the tools that we need. And that's why I appreciate her more than anything.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you for coming into The Sweet House and having my very own therapy session. Light therapy session that
Thank
I'm
you.
sharing.
Okay, I'm about to say, don't be having me out here losing my license because okay, but yes.
This isn't a real therapy session, but I feel like she just gives me little tidbits that I need here and there. So I enjoy talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
I didn't even ask these questions because
but people still got stuff out of it. Sometimes you gotta go off book.
Yeah, off
and
record.
I live here, so I can always come back.
Yeah. So you guys stay tuned. She will be back for part 2. And until then, follow her on social media.
Thank you.
Thank you.